Welcome to Daily Dictation. This week we're talking about urban life, so we're studying some sentences and vocabulary words related to urban life, which is like living in the city, working in the city, and traveling in the city. This video is meant to help you practice your English skills. Now, the content in this video is especially important because the topic of urban life and city life is more likely to come up on a proficiency exam like IELTS, TOEFL, or something like that, because these words and this language is really important for like day-to-day English and to show your proficiency in day-to-day English. So in order to practice your language skills, you're going to be practicing your listening skills and your writing skills in this video. And to do that, I'm going to read 5 sentences to you. These sentences are going to be for high intermediate English speakers. They're going to be at a relatively complex level. And then you are going to write down each sentence to the best of your ability. So you're going to write down each sentence and you're going to follow the correct spelling. You're going to follow the correct grammar, punctuation, and capitalization to have the highest possible accuracy when you're writing. So let's go ahead and talk about daily dictation. This skill of having really good listening skills and writing skills at the same time comes with practice as much as possible. So we have videos that take place every day. There are new sentences each weekday and new topics each week. You practice the same vocabulary all week long. So by the 5th video, then you are able to spell and write down the words perfectly. There are 2 English levels offered, and a vocabulary list and practice worksheets are available through the link in the description. So instructions, you will need a blank piece of paper and a pencil. A blank document that you can type into would work as well. 5 sentences will be read, and each sentence will be read 3 times and 1 more time at the end. You have to write down each sentence to the best of your ability, and you will use your listening skills to do that. Try your best to apply the correct spelling, punctuation, and capitalization as you write. So you can see numbers 1 through 5 here on the screen. Each number represents a different sentence that will be read. So I'm going to start with sentence number 1. Number 1. The city's ambitious urbanization plans include transforming neglected industrial zones into pedestrian-friendly areas with wide sidewalks and green avenues lined with trees. The city's ambitious urbanization plans include transforming neglected industrial zones into pedestrian-friendly areas with wide sidewalks and green avenues lined with trees. The city's ambitious urbanization plans include transforming neglected industrial zones into pedestrian-friendly areas with wide sidewalks and green avenues lined with trees. Number 2. Gentrification in the downtown core has led to the renovation of historic buildings into cosmopolitan living spaces. Gentrification in the downtown core has led to renovation of historic buildings into cosmopolitan living spaces. Gentrification in the downtown core has led to the renovation of historic buildings into cosmopolitan living spaces. Number 3. The daily commute in the metropolis has gridlock on major avenues, prompting calls for better public transportation and pedestrian-friendly initiatives. The daily commute in the metropolis has gridlock on major avenues, prompting calls for better public transportation and pedestrian-friendly initiatives. The daily commute in the metropolis has gridlock on major avenues, prompting calls for better public transportation and pedestrian-friendly initiatives. Number 4. Urbanization efforts in the city center have created vibrant cosmopolitan areas. Urbanization efforts in the city center have created vibrant cosmopolitan areas. Urbanization efforts in the city center have created vibrant cosmopolitan areas. Number 5. Residents of the rapidly growing metropolis debate the impact of gentrification on community identity. Residents of the rapidly growing metropolis debate the impact of gentrification on community identity. Residents of the rapidly growing metropolis debate the impact of gentrification on community identity. I'll read each sentence one more time, starting with sentence number 1. The city's ambitious urbanization plans include transforming neglected industrial zones into pedestrian-friendly areas with wide sidewalks and green avenues lined with trees. Number 2. Gentrification in the downtown core has led to the renovation of historic buildings into cosmopolitan living spaces. Number 3. The daily commute in the metropolis has gridlock on major avenues, prompting calls for better public transportation and pedestrian-friendly initiatives. Number 4. Urbanization efforts in the city center have created vibrant cosmopolitan areas. Number 5. Residents of the rapidly growing metropolis debate the impact of gentrification on community identity. All right, let's go ahead and check our answers. I'm sure everybody did a great job. Now, if you found that this video was a little bit too fast, I do recommend that you listen again. You can do so, and you can slow down the speed by adjusting the playback speed in the settings of the video. If you want to listen to specific sentences again, just check the description for timestamps. This will help you listen to specific sentence numbers. If you feel like you got everything correct, let's go ahead and check. So, number 1. The city's ambitious urbanization plans include transforming neglected industrial zones into pedestrian-friendly areas with wide sidewalks and green avenues lined with trees. Number 2. Gentrification in the downtown core has led to the renovation of historic buildings into cosmopolitan living spaces. Number 3. The daily commute in the metropolis has gridlock on major avenues, prompting calls for better public transportation and pedestrian-friendly initiatives. Number 4. Urbanization efforts in the city center have created vibrant cosmopolitan areas. Number 5. Residents of the rapidly growing metropolis debate the impact of gentrification on community identity. So, how did we do today? What words do we find that we are improving on? What words do we still need to work on a little bit? Today, again, we do have some really long sentences. A lot of the sentences have 2 clauses in them. They require commas, just like before. And so it is important to continue to practice and know, when do we use commas? When does it call for? Today, it looks like we also have the possessive again. In number 1, we have cities with apostrophe S. So if that got you in a previous day and you put the plural form, C-I-T-I-E-S, that's not correct. We're using the possessive form, apostrophe S, because we're talking about the urbanization plans that belong to the city. So we want to show the possessive of that. So that's why there's apostrophe S here, and it comes after the Y. We don't need to change it to I-E-S in that case because it's not plural, it's possessive. So that is a really important thing. We do see, again, in number 1, pedestrian friendly. So those 2 words, pedestrian and friendly, came together to function as an adjective. So when something comes together to function like an adjective, pedestrian and friendly, it's used to describe the word areas. And in that case, we do need to put a dash or a hyphen between those 2 words to bring them together. We don't make them a compound word, but we do just bring a hash or a hyphen in between them. You also might have seen and thought it was a typo, center. So city center, C-E-N-T-R-E. This is because I am in Canada and I primarily use Canadian English. And Canadian English has a lot of influences with French because that is the second official language in Canada. So some of our words take kind of this funny form, and center is a really good example of that. In America, C-E-N-T-E-R is the correct spelling. So if you spelled it E-R, that's correct also. I spelled it R-E. There are two ways to spell it. There's Canadian and American spelling, which has some differences. The same is true for other countries. The UK, Australia, New Zealand will have a different spelling in some words compared to Canada and America. So you might see some inconsistencies or some differences. Whatever you choose when you're practicing English, whatever works best for you, just make sure it's consistent. And there will be a little bit of differences from what you see up here. So double check that for sure if you have some kind of doubts. Otherwise, tomorrow will be another good day to continue to practice these words. Here are the important words that we are focusing on. I do recommend that you become familiar with these words: metropolis, cosmopolitan, commute, pedestrian, avenue, jaywalk, gridlock, sidewalk, gentrification, urbanization. So become familiar with the definitions, the meanings, try to apply them in your own sentences, try to apply them in your own speaking, know how they are used, the context that they are used in, the word forms they take. Be familiar with all of those things. There is a link in the description that brings you to some worksheets to practice these words and understand them, get the definitions, example sentences, and so on. And so you can find that there. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining today, and I hope to see you again soon. I hope you still practice your English, keep on practicing these words, keep on trying your best, and I'll see you next time. Bye.